Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Hi, this is Julie Geigle with Angel Talk Tuesday, and we are here, Susan and I, to share a beautiful weekly energy forecast. Welcome, Susan.
Hello, Julie. How are you?
I am awesome, excited for December, which is in just a couple days. So we're going to have Susan mute herself, and we'll go ahead and jump in with our channeling right away. So I'm Julie Geigel, International Psychic Medium, Trance Channel for Archangel Metatron, and Awakened Healer. And you can find me over at juliegeigel.com and on Facebook at Psychic Medium Julie. And as I said, we are here to share a weekly energy forecast for you. So where is your energy best spent? This week, your energy is best spent on gratitude. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Gratitude and grace, how they are linked in together. And so I just wanted to take a moment to share an exciting event that Susan and I have coming up on December 7th, Whispers from Heaven. And we are going to be doing an online mediumship demonstration and some psychic fun, as well as some trance healing. So trance healing is what we do here as well. And so it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what we'll be doing during our Whispers from Heaven. We'll be kind of combining all three of those exciting things together for a glorious, glorious afternoon of lots of fun. So if you have a loved one in spirit that is wanting to make a connection with you, if you're feeling called to this, be sure to sign up. You can sign up over on my website at juliegeigel.com. All right. And I think we're ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and set my timer. Metatron likes to channel for about 12 minutes. And then we will ring the tingsha bells to clear out any lower vibrations. All right, here we go. Oh, and Metatron likes to move around a lot. So I'm going to move my camera back. Here we go. Welcome. I am Metatron, here in service to humanity. We are excited to join you here this day, helping you to understand more about your vibration, your energy, as you are able to harness the power of your vibrational frequency. It will completely change every experience you have here on this planet. So allow us to open up this beautiful portal, calling in all of the masters of light, the beings that are with you, the angels from beyond, all that the spiritual realm has to offer. And the Pleiadians are here with us this day. Feel their energy. They have all come to support you here now. As you open your heart to receive this blessed healing this day, you may find you are experiencing a warmth in your body or a tingling or a beautiful feeling of peace. This is the lovely energy that is created when we all gather together in this space, bringing forth messages of love, inspiration to brighten the path, and hope, hope of a new day dawning, hope of more to come, much needed change and evolution is occurring now on this planet. This week, your energy is best spent focusing on that which you are grateful for. And we are aware that we have discussed this many times in the past with you, but especially in your month of November, where many of you are conscious of Thanksgiving and gratitude. It is an ideal time to remind you the power that gratitude holds in your life. You are like a beautiful tuning fork, tuning in to that which is around you. You have control over what you will tune into, whether it be frustration or fear, or maybe discourse in your relationships. When you are lost in the story, you may find yourself tuning in to that vibration of lost. Take a deep breath. Find something in your life that brings you joy, that brings you love, that brings you peace. Allow this to cleanse your vibration, your energy field. Allow this to redirect and help you to tune into the truth. Your ego loves to keep you deep in the story of what they said or did or how they hurt you. But this is simply an illusion. No one is hurting you. It is your thoughts about the situation that hurt you way more than the actual experience itself. We are here to remind you that you are not a victim. You are not a victim of other people, but also you are not a victim of yourself, of your story, of your ego. You are an infinite being of love, a wellspring of joy, unending, brilliant light. Allow gratitude to bring you back into your power. So imagine with us here those things in your life that you are most grateful for. Maybe it's a person or an experience that you've had, or how you felt. Allow this beautiful feeling of gratitude to course through your veins, filled with love, simplicity. And as you open to the gratitude in your life, it acts as a beautiful portal into grace. And now experience with us being showered down all around you. This grace, this ease, this effortlessness that is literally at your fingertips. Let the story dissolve. Watch the ego transform and become that which you are. A magnificent being of love, light, and gratitude. A magnificent being of grace. Feel your loved ones in heaven join you in this beautiful experience, showering their love upon you. They are ever by your side, constantly sending you love and peace and blessings. Feel their warm embrace and their eternal love that is with you always. I am Metatron, and I have spoken here this day.
Okay, that was lovely, Julie. Okay, so what I'm going to do is Julie kind of resettles into herself is I'm just welcoming you back to Angel Talk Tuesday. This is Susan Schueler. I'm a professional psychic medium. I'm a channeler of Jacob, who is a master teacher of the Akashic. Lately, I've been also channeling the Pleiadians, who are kind of pushing me in a new direction. I didn't even talk to Julie about that. You can see the look of surprise on her face on that. I'm a professional psychic medium, but prior to doing this, I was a high school English teacher for many years. I do one-on-one readings all over the world on Skype and on the phone. I also do small group readings, and I do mediumship and psychic demonstrations. As Julie mentioned earlier, she and I are teaching a Lightworkers class that we will be beginning November 30th. It's our second class. We're very, very excited about doing that. And we're also doing an online demonstration December 7th. And the holidays are a great time for us to do something like that because I feel like there's usually a major feel of disconnect for people who have lost their loved ones. And this is just a nice kind of time to connect, to realize that they're not that far away, really. I will be in New York State starting December 17th, and I'm not quite sure for how long I will be there, probably a few weeks. And I'll be doing probably a demonstration of some small group readings there as well. You can find me on Facebook at Susan Schueler Psychic Medium, or check out my website at mediumsusan.com for any information on what I just mentioned. So I'm going to switch gears, turn off my video, and take a nice deep breath as I invite Jacob in to join me, or whomever I'll be channeling today. And I'll just take a nice deep breath to kind of set the stage. Beautiful souls of light, we are most pleased to be with you today. We feel joy over the fact that although your lives are filled with activity, that you have still carved out a space to listen today because you find value in ways to looking to elevate your consciousness. Raising consciousness, in a way, is the topic we wish to elaborate on today. For when there is a shift in this area, all other aspects of your human condition will begin to properly align and fall into place. You are undertaking a grand journey at this time, and we remind you of all the many factions at odds with one another coming from within your planet, as well as far-reaching outside of the cosmos. That being said, of course you are all feeling it on some level at this moment in time. Add to this already tumultuous time in the universe, the stress most of you feel during the holidays, and it feels like your world may often be falling apart. But never fear, it is simply realigning and weeding out the aspects that no longer work. But just as the death and destruction of fall can leave your planet cold and hard for many months, soon thereafter comes the warmth and brand new green and abundant life. As so with these times, you are changing, shifting, altering your previous perceptions, getting ready to embrace a new, more glorious time. So do not allow these blips in your day-to-day human lives to cause a detour or force you from the paths of progress. It is the daily trials and tribulations that can keep you from this path of moving closer to the Christ consciousness. Since the ego is the one who most gets in the way during these times, we ask that you focus on checking in most frequently during the next month to be sure the real you, rather than your ego, with all its preconceived ideas of what is right or wrong, is leading the way. When the ego takes you by the hand, leading the way, it will not be possible to come from a place of love, grace, and gratitude. It will place fear before those, lowering your vibration and keeping your chance to raise your consciousness at an impossible minimum. We mean not to speak of gloom and doom, but only to alert you to keep ever vigilant. But there are powerful, great struggles between dark and light taking place at this time. So it is especially of great import that you keep your own machine clean and running smoothly at this time. Each one of your energetic light bodies carry their own ability to raise the frequency around them. So there is not one single person on your planet who remains either insignificant or unimportant. By choosing, yes, every second you take another breath, you are making a cognitive choice about if you answer to the higher vibration of spirit or the lower convoluted vibes of the ego. So by choosing to come from a place of gratitude in all things, you will find a deeper connection with the divine creator. As you begin to awaken to your true selves, and if you are listening to this message, you are indeed on your way already. You are slowly taking back your power and remembering who you are, a part of the great I am, the beautiful and glorious love spark of Creator. You feel it. You know this time has been coming. Many of you sense the anticipation, but know not what for. We remind you that these smaller day-to-day issues are the roadblocks that will keep you from the progress you are now being called to face head on. You are brave warriors of light. You are not faint of heart, not one little bit. When you allow yourself to embrace the fear, you have a clear red flag before your eyes that you are no longer being led by spirit, but rather the frail human ego. Recognizing this is a large part of this glorious battle. For once you have developed the capabilities to do so, you can then stop, cancel, take a deep purging breath, and realign yourself to the God spark deep within. Focusing on all you have in your human lives that is good is a simple way to shift your consciousness. We ask that you make an effort, especially during this busy season, that you make the effort to stop several times during your day and run through a list of all the many beautiful things in your life that you are grateful for. You will notice just the simple act of doing so will switch your energy from fear to love. We also tell you a little secret here as well. In those times when you feel lonely, frustrated, confused, or like your life is running you rather than the other way around, we ask you to not only stop, ask to cancel those thoughts, and quickly begin to count the gratefuls, but to physically force your lips to turn upright into a smile. We say force because it may feel unnatural at first. Your human condition is such that it is almost impossible to feel negative things when your face is smiling a genuine smile. You can simply fake it until you become it. This is indeed the most stressful yet glorious time of the year for many of you on your planet. For many, we know there is a propensity for depression to take over. But by simply not allowing your ego the control, you can take back your divine power, thereby disallowing this to occur. You are the conductor of your train, your human body. Regulate the speed and energy in which you allow it to progress. When you see a frantic speed may be gaining and there is a turn approaching, plan ahead, be aware, and slow down. Just as a train's conductor changes tracks sometimes, literally going in opposing directions, to do so, so can you. For there will always be new tracks and directions to take. During these holidays, you can decide, yes, cognitively decide, at any given moment to change your direction rather than to derail. We would also like to take a moment to praise and remind you of just how far you have all progressed. You are no longer in the dark, even if you cannot see the vortex of light swirling around you. You still can feel it. You are hearing the trumpets and beginning to heed its call. Even when many of you have yet to comprehend where this new call will be taking you, you are learning to trust in your divine natures, in your place in the universe, in the connection between you, the magnificent divine creator of all that is, and the connectedness to every other being, whether human, plant, or animal. Allow this glorious revolution to impact those around you in positive ways during the holidays this year. Allow your light bodies to reflect and glow off one another, causing a chain reaction of light to pour over your planet to drown out the lower vibrational darkness. Be this change you all feel coming. It's ever so near now, and we are simply a breath away, offering ourselves to you to serve as your emissaries, taking you from being children of the light into adulthood. This is Susan Schueler, channeling Jacob from the Akashic Records. Coming up next, Julie will be taking us to Facebook Live, and we will be discussing this current channel that we did today. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Wow, that was exciting, Susan. Can't wait to discuss that. Okay, so Susan's going to chat for a moment while I get us on Facebook Live.
Okay, so I'm going to chat. Now, do you want me to chat about anything in particular? Am I jumping? I'm not jumping into our discussion yet. So, okay, so I'm just chatting. Yes, the holidays. Well, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I actually stayed home alone. I'm on a 500 calorie a day cleanse again. And going out on Thanksgiving with my husband and meeting with friends did not appeal to me. So I just stayed home and kind of laid low. But my husband came home more than stuffed. So I feel like he did it for both of us.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, we are live now on Facebook, and we just want to welcome everybody here on Facebook. And if you're joining us live right now, we would love to hear from you. So go ahead, post your first name and what state you're in that beautiful newsfeed. Like, love, and share if you feel so inclined. This is Julie Geigle and Susan Schueler. We are here sharing an incredible energy forecast for the week of November 27th through December 3rd. And we've got a retrograde coming, Susan. I know. So I really felt, because I was like, oh, gratitude and grace. Well, that should have been last week. Metatron doesn't make mistakes. So I was like, all right, I'm sure there's a reason for this. And that's when I heard, okay, we've got a retrograde coming up. So the information that came in for us today during the channeled messages, the channeled energy forecast, is designed to help us ground ourselves during this upcoming retrograde, because holidays are crazy anyway. You throw a retrograde in there and whoa, oh my goodness. I'm a little nervous, Susan. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny because I was just thinking about that this morning. I was like, isn't it coming soon? It's sort of like, in the 10 Commandments when the locusts were coming, it's coming.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Well, we're going to turn it over to Susan. She's going to lead a discussion in the energy forecast that Metatron wanted to share with us.
Okay, and it's funny because this week I actually remembered to take my notes. Last week I was so out of it because I was just still coming down from India. So, okay, yeah. So first of all, I just want to talk about how he talked about in the forecast that Metatron wanted to share with us. How he talked about how the masters will always come in to support us. And to me, I think this is very important that we know this, especially this time of year when so many people are experiencing the feeling of depression or the feeling of being alone. I know I just had a conversation with somebody saying that yesterday. So to me, just to open that up to say that they're here, and then to kind of start with how you can feel a sense of peace sort of coming over you when you allow them to step in. And that was exactly what I was feeling at that moment. So I found that was kind of a nice way to begin what he was talking about. And I think that also goes into why it's so important for all of us to be feeding our spiritual sides, especially during the holidays when we've got all these other things kind of going at us, that we still need to take the time, the moment to kind of set aside to do your meditations, to do your kind of just regrouping, regrounding type things. So he then went on to say, gratitude holds power in your life. And I'm just going to read what he said about the tuning fork, because I tried to write it word for word, so I may be paraphrasing a little bit. But he said, you are a beautiful tuning fork, tuning into that which is around you. You have control to what you tune into. And I liked that because I'm a control freak and I like to know I have control. But it does, we're not victims. And I know he went on to say that later. It's like, we're not victims. So we can choose. I'm not going to tune into that, or, oh, I really want to tune into that. That feels awesome. And then he went on to say, whether it's frustration, fear, or discourse in your relationships. So, we're with family. We're at high emotionally charged moments in time where the ego does have these expectations. So to back away and say, I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to buy into it. To me, that was very profound. Okay, Julie, before, like I said, I can always keep going, but go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, because, it really is. We've just talked so much about the story and not jumping into the story because your ego is it can be quite obsessive. And I know for myself, I struggle with it just like everybody else. And I love that technique from Ho'oponopono where you're just repeating, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you. And what I've been noticing that's happening with that as, the stories, because the holidays really bring those stories up.
Oh, yeah.
Really triggers all of those, all that pain, all those pain bodies. And what happens when you just repeat that? Thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you. Even if you don't know Ho'oponopono or you're not using it actively in your life, just repeating those 2 short, simple phrases helps keep you focused on gratitude, thank you, and on love, thank you, I love you. And when you're focused on gratitude and love, the ego can't get its hold on you. So it loosens the ego. It loosens that obsessive thinking. It loosens the pull, wanting to pull you into the drama. And it kind of creates a disconnect with that drama and helps you stay in your light, in your power.
Absolutely, Julie. Absolutely. And I like that, staying in your power, because we are all powerful beings. And it's like, we really need to embrace the fact that we have this power within. I'm just trying to find one other quote that he had said that, okay. Yeah. So I want to get, like you just kind of touched on it a little bit. Focus on what you're grateful for, allowing the feeling to course through your veins. Because it is really crazy how the minute we start focusing on, oh, I'm grateful for this or I'm grateful for that, how it definitely has the opportunity to shift us in a really powerful way. I know, and it's, you know how we all kind of have that tendency to get go down the rabbit hole, and it's like you'll kind of start fueling the fire of negativity. And that's why I like the cancel type thing that you were saying. That to me is just very, very helpful. Then the last thing that he was talking about was how the grace was showering down on us. And as he was saying that, it was like, oh yeah, keep raining. Because sometimes you really need that. And I know I particularly really need that. And he's like, you can do this at any time. So I know that's the way I'm going to kind of perceive it from now on, is just letting it rain on me.
I love that. I love that. And, really tuning into that portal, opening up that portal and accessing more resources, more power that we have. I mean, we're not alone. We're never alone. And we have all of these masters of light. We have all of our loved ones in heaven. Oh my gosh, when he was talking about at the end, your loved ones in heaven, wanting you to feel their love, to feel their support. It was like, wow, and I can feel my dad with me right now. I can feel my mother-in-law with me right now. 2 people I was very, very close to here on the planet. And when we can utilize that very simple, easy to access resource, it just allows us to stay in alignment with who we are. And it allows us to have a more beautiful experience here on this planet that isn't infused with all of that struggle and all of that trauma. Even though that might be going on around us, we can still, as we tune into a different vibration, it will help change our perspective on the experience that we're having, and it will help us to respond with compassion, love, and empathy, instead of constantly reacting from insecurity and frustration and fear. So we absolutely have a new energy on this planet right now. And I'm telling you, stand in your power. You do not have to be blown about by the wind anymore. Helter skelter. Take your power back. Rise up and be who you came to be. You are the change the world needs. Awesome. Now, if you're on Facebook Live, if you're watching us, if you're sharing in this beautiful conversation, we would love to say hello to you. So go ahead and type your first name in the news feed, maybe where you're from. If you have any questions about the energy forecast for this week, we would love to hear that. We are also giving away a free psychic or medium reading here over on our Zoom platform. So you can dial in at 646-876 9923. Again, our dial-in number is 646-876-9923. And don't forget our ID number is 756-226-370. Again, our ID number is 756-226-370. We would love to help you out today with a free psychic or medium reading. So we are going to, any other thoughts with Metatron, Susan? Otherwise we can shift.
Oh no, we can shift. You nailed it pretty darn well at the end there.
All right, awesome. And it looks like we've got 2 people with us live over there on Facebook. Welcome, Nicole, my awesome niece. I love her to pieces. And let me give a few more shout outs here. The grace is showering down on all of us, she said. Gorgeous. How do you help your children to do these techniques? Enlightened spirits who have forgotten. They can use this so much, especially my 13-year-old. Any thoughts, Susan? I know you are blessed to be invited to teach over at Lilydale. You're teaching a children's class. Wow, that's exciting.
I am. With kids very often, I think it's just really important that you use simple things. The way that you explain it's so similar to the way that you just explained it there. You know what I mean? Like showering things down. I use crystals a lot when I work with kids. I know even in the classroom, if there was a kid that was having a hard day, I would give them certain crystals to kind of hang on to. And luckily I was in a school district that was pretty open-minded about things like that. But just hanging on to the crystals sometimes would shift the kids' energies. So it can be something physical like that. It doesn't necessarily, and especially this sounds bad, but sometimes from a parent standpoint, other people can tell your children things, but as a parent, sometimes your children are a little less receptive to you. So in a situation like that, you might want to kind of come in sideways for a child to develop. And then a lot of times I've found storytelling, like you'll kind of almost like parables like they did in the Bible, where you would kind of give a parable about this because it makes a kid think about something in a not in your face type way, if that makes sense. Did I answer that question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, when Metatron talked about gratitude, take a deep breath, imagine something you're grateful for. So maybe something has happened at school that day and you come home and you share that story and you talk about your feelings and, how you could have acted or reacted differently. Then close it with, let's think about things we're grateful for. Mm-hmm. And let's purposefully shift our vibration through our thoughts. So I think that's kind of a fun activity too. And you can do that with kids of any age, what makes you smile, what makes you happy, what bubbles up with joy in your heart. And I think
Julie, that's especially important with like a kid that's 13 because they love to get wrapped up in their drama. And when they get wrapped up in their drama, it's just like we've seen it, you know what I mean? And we were 13-year-old girls. We remember what that's like. They can just like keep going. So the fact that you're talking about kind of bringing them back and saying, okay, well, that's great, but what are you grateful for?
Right. Redirect the conversation. So in closing, never walk away from that conversation with, that topic at hand. You want to redirect and bring in something sacred into their life that they can focus on and use that to shift their energy. And I just wanted to shout out to Raina Storm. Thank you this morning for joining us out there, Raina. And we love the support that we get on Facebook, and we love all of you. Hope you are enjoying our new format here on Angel Talk Tuesday. We are hosted every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific time. You can join us live on Facebook, or you can dial in now. We have a special dial-in number. And we also have a special link where you can join us on Zoom and you can watch us channel. You can watch us in this whole discussion. This is an hour long. When we go to Facebook Live, we only include our discussion segment on Facebook Live. And speaking of that, we're going to shift gears and switch over to the lovely messages, the lovely forecast that Jacob shared with us. And Susan, you threw that Pleiadians in there. I want to know more about that before I talk.
Well, it's funny because I'm working on like an oracle deck. And I'm channeling the whole thing, and I don't know how, but the Pleiadians just snuck in there. And the next thing I knew, as I was channeling, I'm like, "This is not Jacob." I don't know. And then it was, and I like, you've been channeling so much longer than I have, so I mean, like, maybe this is just the way it happens. I don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love how you say sneak right in. Yeah, because I know the Pleiadians come in a lot. And one thing I do want to say, you know, when we channel, both of us, I know what I know to be true is that Metatron comes in and opens the show, and Metatron comes in and closes the show. Oftentimes, Metatron will stay for the whole show, and it's him talking. But there are many times where I can feel other energies coming in, and I can feel my voice maybe change, or the dialect change up a little bit, and I'm like thinking in the back of my mind, I don't think this is Metatron talking anymore. But I'm not going to stop the channeling and be like, okay, Metatron just left. There's a new dude here. I don't know what his name is, but we're going to go with it. So it just all flows into each other. And I think that we are the ones that get caught up in who is it? Spirit, you know, everything's spirit, and we're all one. We're all one with God. And so it really is a collective consciousness that both of us work with. And I find it very fascinating, Susan, that, you know, Metatron's the gatekeeper, if you will, of the Akashic Records. And Jacob, whom Susan channels, is a master teacher of the Akasha. So they are absolutely working hand in hand and kind of like soul brothers, if you will. And then the Pleiadians, because I know the Pleiadians have just been really strong. I think they came in a few months ago, and they're like a permanent mainstay. And so it was so beautiful when you said you're working with the Pleiadians and beginning to channel some messages from them as well, because it's like, wow, it's just bringing both of us up to another level.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's talk more about the collective consciousness of Jacob. So I'm sure some of this was infused with the Pleiadian energy. Each one of your energetic light bodies have the power to raise the vibration. So I loved how he talked about no one is excluded. This is something everyone can access. So you don't need to be a light worker. You don't need to be anybody special. You don't need to have special gifts. Every single person on the planet is capable and able to access this frequency and to shift their vibration and allow that gratitude and grace to flow, to course through their veins. Any thoughts on that, Susan, before I keep going?
Yeah, it is. It's like whenever, and I'm sure you've noticed this too when you teach classes, very oftentimes people will be like, well, you know, if I was gifted and I did this and I did that, and if I had that, and it is like what you were talking about earlier about, you know, your story, we tend to take away our power. When we realize something like this, it gives us back our power. And I just think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Perfect. By choosing to answer spirit versus the convoluted stories of the ego, you are slowly taking back your power and remembering your truth. So it is important to recognize that we have this duality in us. We have the duality of love and the duality of fear. So I don't care what you call it. Some people call it higher self and lower self. Some people call it ego versus soul. Like I said, I don't care what you call it, but it is a duality that exists within us. And for me, because I'm Catholic, I associate like when I was in church Sunday, and the stories that they're sharing, the parables they're reading, talk about sinning and how we're sinners. For me, I like to think of that as the the energy of the ego. So the energy of the ego is constantly fear. It's constantly criticism and sarcasm and negativity and obsessiveness and story. It is story, 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 story. So I just take that word sin out and replace it or think of it in terms of that's my ego. That's the duality that exists within me. And when I understand that I am not the thoughts in my mind, it's liberating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Not the thoughts in our mind. Gosh, if I were the thoughts in my mind, I'd want to choke myself. Yeah, so I absolutely agree with that. And also the fact that we have the opportunity and the chances because of the matrix that we're living in that we can change the thoughts in our mind. We have that power.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Nicole asked, does raising my vibration help my kids? Help the energy of my kids? And again, that goes back into we're all connected. So what I do affects what you do, healing the planet by one person at a time. Because when I heal me, you automatically reap the benefits of that. And that is fulfilling our destiny, because we came here to help the planet evolve. We came here to help the new consciousness rise up. And when each and every one of us are doing our part in that, that's when massive change occurs.
And it's interesting too, Julie, because that can also fuel the fire in a negative way. You know what I mean? So if you're allowing all of the stresses and everything and you bring them home and your kids feel that and everybody feels that, that's more of a negative spin that you don't want to have happen.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, because it's not easy to do that. We all are under a great deal of stress, and there's lots of issues. I mean, part of our human experience is struggle. And again, the ego likes to judge that and call it struggle. But if we're coming from a spiritualist perspective, it's not, the energy of the word struggle will actually infuse that experience with more of that energy. So even to just release the energy of the adjectives, it's like, stop using so many adjectives.
And also, Julie, if you think about it too, that's also why it's so very important for us to have spiritual tribes, for people that we can connect with, because it's like, if you're really all alone and you don't have other people's energy to feed off of, I mean, I feed off your energy every week. You know what I mean? It's so helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So find your tribe, honest to goodness, find your tribe. And we are creating a beautiful tribe here, a beautiful angel community. We'd love to have you join our Angel Talk Tuesday show page, as well as our break room and our lovely community here over on Zoom, where we are giving away a free psychic or medium reading this morning. And I am Nicole. She's so chatty. Nicole, and you're on the air with us. She actually called in. And so I know we're closing in on our time. We're just going to have Susan share a few moments with us. Beautiful trip to India. I'm dying to hear more about your trip, Susan. How was it?
It was great, Julie. It's funny. There's certain parts of India that I would go back to in a second. Rishnikash was beautiful. It's like the yoga capital of the world. It was magical. You were right on the Ganges River. I mean, that was truly magical. Where the Taj Mahal is, Agra, I hope I never go there again. It just didn't give me a good feeling. The people there, there's just a lot of negativity and you could feel it. We all got in there and we were like, okay, we got to get out of here. But the Taj Mahal was fabulous. The crowds were insane. And I remember being in Old Delhi one day where you're on these little rickshaw, like motorbikes crammed in with like 6 other people. And I mean, there wasn't even an inch between the vehicles. And on the first time I did it, I sat up front with the driver because I have motion sickness. And so, I mean, you're like right in the thick of it. There's mules going by and horses and people and motorbikes. And you just kind of had to suspend your disbelief and pretend you were like on a ride at, I don't know, Six Flags or something, just to kind of get through it, because it was really wonderful, because it allows you to not feel like you have to be in control, because India will force you to know that you have absolutely no control. It's just very different. And it also, to me, I think the most poignant thing I got out of the whole thing was just how privileged we are in our first world situation here, you know? So you kind of come back and you're like, oh gosh, you know, can I just get a latte? You know?
Yeah, my favorite part about traveling is coming home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, I can't seem to get our caller, Nicole, here live on the air. So we're just going to do a quick, just a couple minutes. Oh, she muted herself. She unmuted. Let me see if I can try now. Yeah.
And that was another thing that was so funny about being in India, was the technological aspect of it. They have rolling blackouts all the time. So you'll just be sitting in a restaurant talking to people and the electricity will go off and nobody even blinks because they're so used to it. There were times where we'd get into our hotels and you couldn't get the internet. And like, being the beautiful Americans that we are, we were like, where's my internet? I need my internet. And this is just the way these people live. So you do realize how much we take for granted.
Yeah, that's so crazy, so crazy. All right, well, I'm just going to pull a quick card for Nicole today, and then Susan, if you have any thoughts, I'll have you jump in there. And we're going to go with the healing deck today, Nicole. And the card that comes up for you today is the Freedom card. And I'm just seeing that you're really on a beautiful path of awakening, Nicole. And the Freedom card is one of my favorite cards, because I just get that feeling. And Nicole's my niece, so I know a lot about her history. But I just get that feeling that you've been in bondage for quite some time. And it was not only bondage of this lifetime, but of many lifetimes past. And it's almost like spirit or the masters have cut the chains. You have cut the chains, and you're free now. And you're just like, whoa, there's a world out there and I can access it now. I'm not stuck in this dark, damp hole, that I'm in the light, I'm free, and I've got a whole life before me, a whole world to explore. That's love, joy, peace, and harmony. Awesome. Very exciting. Susan?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I'm so drawn to her throat chakra as you're talking. And I feel like there've been so many plugs in her throat chakra over the years, and I don't know her, but it just feels like they've been shut down. And I feel like part of her empowerment is going to be learning how to access her throat chakra. And I feel like she just needs to be aware that sometimes it's going to be too open, and then other times it's going to be closed down until she gets more of a continuity of that. So what I would highly suggest her doing is going on YouTube and just trying to find some balancing of the chakras, but especially that focus on the throat chakra. So it will kind of have, it will go from big to small with less frequency and more of a continuity, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And so I think that a lot of people that are really embracing their spiritual gifts experience that, where either it's overload or it's nothing. And so they kind of bounce back between, they get a little bit of it and then it gets more and more, and then they get overwhelmed and then they shut it down. It's like, okay, too much, don't want this. And then, you know, it just waffles back and forth. So I am seeing, you know, totally understanding what Susan is saying, that it's going to be more stabilized. So it's opened a little and closed a little and opened a little, and instead of all or nothing. Beautiful. All right, everyone. Well, that's it. So glad you had an awesome time in India. We missed you dearly. Susan was gone for 3 weeks. That's just so exciting. But glad you're back home, safe and sound, and looking forward to a beautiful holiday season with you, Susan. And don't forget, Susan and I are hosting our Whispers from Heaven, December 7th. That's at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can sign up on my website or Susan's, juliegeigle.com or mediumsusan.com. And we would love to invite you to join our angel community at bit.do/Angel Talk Tuesday. You'll never miss another show, and you'll be sent the link for the archives immediately after we finish our live show. All right, everyone, have a beautiful and blessed day. We hope to see you back here next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Pacific time. This is Julie Geigle and Susan Schueler wishing you a day filled with grace and gratitude.
Bye-bye now.
Namaste.